Got a chance to see the new Conjuring film, Last Rites, with Ed and Lorraine Warren. Let's talk about it right now. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for spending time with me as we rant about movies, comic books, and television shows, as well as the occasional board game. I'm your host, Frank Zenko, an award-winning screenwriter, novelist, and comic book writer, as well as a filmmaker. And yeah, we're going to talk about Conjuring Last Rites. I'm a big fan of this whole series. Some of them I like, some of them I don't like very much. But overall, I do like these characters quite a bit. I think Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga do a really good job together. I think they have some good chemistry. I do feel like, well, they've been acting together now for 12 years. The original film, I think, was in 2013. So this has been going on. This whole franchise has been going on for 12 years. So, yeah, they have a whole lot of familiarity with one another. But even in the first film, I thought they had some good chemistry. And obviously everybody else did too, because everybody kept coming back for more. So as far as, the franchise is concerned, just to give you a little recap on the franchise. So it started with The Conjuring in 2013, then Annabelle in 2014. Then they skipped over a year and went to 2016 with The Conjuring 2. Kind of like The Conjuring 2. And then we had Annabelle Creation. I forgot that there was 3 Annabelle films in 2017. So almost every year. 2018, The Nun. 2019, Curse of La Llorona, which I just watched again. I know everybody hates that one, but I watched it again. I like the cast. 2019, so they had 2 movies in 1 year. Annabelle Comes Home. I don't really remember that one too much. And 2021, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. I didn't really like the ending of that film very much. And then we skipped over a year to 2023 and The Nun 2, which I thought The Nun 2 was far better than Nun 1. And in 2025, The Conjuring Last Rites. I might do like a ranking here. Because I'm going to try to watch them all over again and do like a ranking. But so this film is the most expensive of them all, with $55 million, and that's because there's no risk. They know that this film's going to make over $120 million, which is all this film needs to break even. So every film, it's already made $8 million just in like the opening day. So there's no risk that this film's going to make money. Just none. So the first film only cost $20 million. And it made $316 million. The second one, the original Annabelle, only cost $6.5 million. That is amazing. And it made $256 million. Talk about a cash cow. Holy cow. The Conjuring 2, $40 million. So they doubled the budget from 20 to 40 from the first Conjuring to the second. And it made $321 million, which was the highest amount at that point. So the extra $20 million was no big deal to them. Annabelle Creation jumped from $6 million to $15 million and still made $300 million. So the budgets here are dropping the buckets compared to what they were making. Then The Nun came in with $22 million. So again, the ancillary ones kept raising, but 22, and that made $366 million. And that movie sucked. The original Nun was bad. But it was the highest grossing of all the Conjuring movies up to that point. And I think it remains so. We'll see if this one breaks it. But for right now, the original Nun is the highest grossing Conjuring film of all. Then we had The Curse of La Llorona, only cost $9 million to make, and still made $123 million. That was the lowest grossing film of all of them. That's because it wasn't really linked at all to the original, to any of them, really. where the nun was, because we always had the painting in the back of the room. So there was nothing with La Llorona in that was built up at all. So it was kind of all left to itself. And plus, people didn't like that movie much. I know I'm kind of an off kilter on that. Then we have Annabelle Comes Home, which again I have to watch again because I can't remember it. I didn't really like the original one. I thought the second Annabelle movie with all the girls, I thought that was a lot better. Comes Home, I don't remember. That was 27 million, so they jumped it up again. Remember, the first one was only 6. They jumped it up to 27 million. Still made 231 million. So it made less than the original and far less than the second one. But it still made tons of money. Then The Devil Made Me Do It. They remained at $40 million from the Conjuring 2. And it made only 206, so it did not break 300 million this time. And then The Nun 2 cost 38 million. So they jumped that one up from the original Nun movie. They almost double, a little less than double. And that one was 206 million. So it still made a ton of money, but it didn't make what the other ones did. Especially the highest grossing one at 366. And again, I like that movie better. And now we're up to 55 million. So they increased the budget again, $15 million. And I'm pretty sure, since they're saying this is the last one, that this film is going to do extremely well. So let's see what happens. But here's my take on this film. So first of all, I really like the characters. So of course I was going to see it no matter what. So this one kind of jumps back and forth in time a little bit. So it starts out in 1964, where Lorraine is giving birth to, well, first of all, she's pregnant. Because remember, this is very, very loosely based on real life. Very, very loosely. I'm sure that the actual case didn't have things flying around and all this other stuff. So it's very, very, and possession, I'm sure there was none of that in any of it. But this is very loosely based on the account from the Spurls. So the Spurls have their own movie based on their experiences in the 80s. So again, it starts in 1964 with her pregnant. They're on a case, even though she's pregnant, which is probably not advisable. And there's this infestation of this store that has like antiques and whatever else. And there's a mirror there. The father of this woman that is now running the shop committed suicide. We never see that. It's off frame. But anyway, so she ends up touching the mirror, and she immediately starts going into labor early. So she gets rushed to the hospital, and the mirror is never taken care of at that point. But anyway, I'm not going to go into any spoilers, but that's basically what happens in the very beginning in 1964. And then we jump 22 years to 1986. And in 1986, we are seeing the Spurls have problems because the mirror comes to them. So they're having problems with their house now being haunted. Which they did a movie called Haunted or The Haunting or something like that in 1991 based on the Spurls, and Ed and Lorraine Warren do end up in that film. I've never seen it, but I did my little bit of research. And so this is all about Judy, which is their daughter, because now she's 22 years old, and she's having visions and stuff like that, like her mother. And Vera Farmiga's character, Lorraine, is trying to teach her how to handle everything. So before we continue on, because I have a lot, obviously, to talk about with this film, let's talk about the fact that you need to give me a thumbs up. You need to give me a subscribe if you can. Ring that bell, ding, ding. And share this video out there. Remember, too, that I am a writer myself, so check out my stuff on Amazon. Type my name in, or click the link in the description below. You'll see my 4-novel quadrilogy sci-fi series, Destiny Aurora. So if you're a fan of epic space fantasy, like Star Trek, Star Wars, Guardians of the Galaxy, you're going to love that. It was made into a board game, an RPG, a graphic novel. It's on Audible with a male and female voice. It's lots of fun. Even my humor stuck in there, which I was very happy about. But anyway, definitely check that out. Also on Amazon and on Kindle is my fantasy novel, Tales of Ravenor the Iron Witch. So if you're a fan of Game of Thrones, Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing, you're going to like this. It's got dragons in it and magic and all that other stuff, so you're going to like that as well. I created my whole new magic system. And then my comic finally launched on Kickstarter. It is called Fairy Tales of Terror, where I have a Psycho Cinderella, I have a killer, Captain Hook, who has his own fairy. They come out of novels. They're running around New York City killing people. They have a nefarious plan, which we don't know what it is yet. And now we have being trailed. They trailing them is Neverland's Tiger Lily, who I turned into a badass, and it's just awesome. We're about to hit past $5,000. We're fully funded already. We're already unlocking stretch goals. If we hit $5,500, I have an STL of a miniature of a Psycho Cinderella. It looks awesome, and you can definitely check that out actually on the Kickstarter page. But definitely jump in there. The QR code is here. Link in the description below as well. And then I kind of wanted to show you my newest addition to my figure king, and that's I got a classic Iron Man. Who I always liked the classic Iron Man look better than what they did later on and what the movies are based on and stuff like that. Of course, there's no joints like usually there's knee joints, stuff like that. Back in the day, he just was able to move the metal. It was like attached to his skin or whatever. So I always liked this. But anyway, it's fully movable and stuff like that. And this is actually rubber. But this is not made by Hot Toys, which is what I normally get, is all these Hot Toys stuff. And I was going to put him next to my Pepper Potts. However, he's not the same size. He is far, far bigger. He makes her look like a midget. So again, I put him on the other side, and I kept my my Padme over there instead. I would have liked to have put them side by side. Now I have to get another Iron Man from the movie, so that's going to be the correct size. Anyway, let's jump back into The Conjuring. Now, is this film probably going to be the last one? Yes. It'll be the last one for Ed and Lorraine Warren, for sure. Because it does close up, if you're wondering. It does close up. And I guess this was the last one for their real life. Here's my problem with it. Okay, so it has to do a lot with Judy, right? So I went back. I did not realize that Judy was even in some of the other ones. Oh, yes. Now I remember Annabelle Creation. That's the one where she has the babysitter with her. Oh, I like that one a lot. And now I remember who Judy was. Okay. So it took me a while because when I was like, they had a kid? I never even knew that they had a kid. But then now that I remember that she was stuck with the babysitter for Annabelle Creation or Annabelle Comes Home. Yes, I remember that one. And but anyway, I guess that Judy is in some of the other movies, but I didn't remember. So I'm going to have to go back and watch them all. Do I own them all? I do not. So I have to figure out how I'm going to watch them all. I own I think half of them, but not all of them. And because like I said, I didn't even like the original Nun. I didn't like the original Annabelle, so I don't own any of those. I've seen the Nun 2 several times now with her sister. I forgot it. Taysa, I think it's Taysa Familia, yeah, which is her sister. But anyway, so here's my problem with the film. So it has a lot of heart. I think this one has more heart than any of the others. I did tear up a few times, but the build up for this one, the setup is way too long. So the director here was not James Wan who directed it. It's the same director from La Llorona. I think that he also directed The Nun 2. And I think he also directed like the Devil Made Me Do It again, which is not one I really liked. But he's a competent director. I don't say it. I just like everything that he did. But I don't think this was really his fault. I think the script was just far too long. This is like 2 hours and 15 minutes, and it feels like it. They should have cut back at least 20 minutes of this film, at least. The setup is far, far, far too long. So they had, the beginning, which again was too long. Then we have, Ed and Lorraine. They talked about their life way too much, setting everything up, and then intermittently we'd have the Spurls, what's happening to them, which again is too long. Once it finally gets to the end, where things start, progressing and we get the horror action stuff, then it just goes. It's not boring at all. It just goes, But getting up to that point, that took far too long. So again, they should have carved off at least 20 minutes of this film, and it would have felt a lot better, and it probably would have been a better film. So it's too long. That's my biggest critique about this film is it's too long. But again, once you get to the end, there's really some good scenes in there. Plus, we add a new character in here on top of Judy, no pun intended, which is her fiance. And a lot of those, again, this was more the build-up stuff, which we didn't need all of it, because it was an ongoing thing that Ed didn't really like him. It's not that he didn't like him. It's like, you're coming on to my daughter too quickly, because they'd only been dating for 6 months and he wanted to marry her, right off the bat. I do like his backstory with him being a cop. I thought that was really, we don't get to see it. He just tells it. But again, we have all these things, but I like that character. In fact, I thought at the end, he just walks out of the house with just a bandage on. And I thought that his leg was fucked up. But apparently not. It was movie magic. But anyway, so the movie's basically all about the mirror. Since she was pregnant and when she touched the mirror, there's basically a target on Judy for the most part. And that's the basic storyline, which then connects into the Spurls. Is she going to take... That's another thing. So it's the end for Ed and Lorraine Warren, right? The Spera? Yeah, I think it's... her husband's name was Tony. And so it's Junie and Tony Spera, which if you look at the credits, they're actually in there as being thanked. So apparently there was interviews that took place and things like that. So that's the true side of things. But she did not take over the family business in real life. Now, does that mean they can't turn these characters into fictional characters? Sure they can. Sure they can. So they could take those other two and just say it's not a true story anymore. And just say The Conjuring, and now we have two new guys, so that have already been introduced, and at the end, they're being trained anyway. She's been trained, throughout her life, and, Ed's kind of taken him under the wing because it's the fiance. So it is quite possible to have it continue as just fictional characters. Even in the thing, it says characters created by when they're real people. Because it's not really... It's based on true events, kind of. But it's not really based on a true story. Even though it says based on a true story. But it's not. It's not. It's very, very loose. Very, very loose. So I'm going to give this movie... I'm going to rate it out of 10... because I really liked the whole ending, like the last third of the film, I really liked, but it just took too long to get there. I thought the acting was great. So in between, but I'm gonna have to go with a 7.5. I cannot go to an 8 because it's not an 8 film. It is way better than average. You're not going to be disappointed with watching it, especially with the ending. And the horror pieces. If you're a horror fan, you're going to like it. It's just getting up to that horror piece is a chore. That's the problem. So 7.5 for me. But let me know what you guys think. And do you guys think it's the end? Do you think Judy and Tony are going to be taking up the reins here? Remember to give me that like, give me that subscribe if you can. Ring that bell, ding, ding. Share this video out there. Check out my stuff on Amazon.com. Link in the description below. And definitely jump into Fairy Tales of Terror. It's going to be awesome. QR code is here. Link in the description below. Help me get over that 5,500 mark. We're not far away. We're only $500 away. All right, thanks for watching, guys, and have an awesome week.